Start recording. Okay, today is September 15th, 2021. This is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. So I think I just want to go over the features that we are working on 1.23. And then we should probably add this one to this project board that Xing put together. But today we'll just go over this. The first one, resize recovery from failure. So I think CAP is merged. Is Haman here? Okay, it's not here. Okay, I'll go to the next one. Next one, Wooden House. This one also, the CAP is merged. I think Ren says he's going to start with the implementation. And volume populator. Ben, do you have any update on this?
Yeah, the CAP was merged. The main code changes that are needed are metrics. Xing has been helping me, with examples of how to add metrics code from the CSI stuff. So I'm not actually doing that just yet, but I know how to do it. And I'll be doing it soon.
Okay, thank you. And then the build you're trying to cut a build, right?
Yeah. So I'm still pending the change log updates for version 0.1 on both volume data source validator and the lib volume populator. And you have to create stable branches and releases of those. That's also high on my to-do list.
Okay. Okay, so this one is a FS group change policy that is Haman is working on that, right? Haman is not here. Okay, and then Jonathan, is Jonathan here?
Jonathan is not here.
He's also not here. Okay, so those are all merged. Anyway, delegate the FS group to see the driver. Chen is also not. Oh, Chen is here. Okay. Hey, do you want to update on this one?
No updates other than the CAP being merged.
Okay, all right, that's fine. And the next one, I think it's Patrick's. He is also not here. And then the owner will, okay, volume deletion policy caps merge. I think Deepak has not started yet, but he will be working on it. And the next one, secret protection that didn't get merged. Actually, the lens cap did not get merged. That moved to 1.24. And the secret protection, I think we talked about that in 6:30 meeting that we're not really going to implementing the controller anyway. So mainly it's if the lens cap is merged, then we can start to work on some implementation. Just maybe ask a user to do those. Okay, now CSI migration. So that one didn't get merged, but we actually just got the PRR approved this morning. So there are three caps. There was an update to the CSI migration cap, and then there's a cap for Ceph, RBD, cap for Portworx driver, and then all of those are merged. So we will be requesting an enhancement exception. Jing, do you know Jia Wei will be in today?
He should be in the office. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's actually I pinned him to send an email for this enhancement request. Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then so hopefully that's fine since the cap are all merged. And then I think the coding wise, Humble said he has already made some good progress. So and Portworx, I believe they are already ready even for 1.22. So just need to send that for CSI, not CSI, for the release team to approve. And then there was a couple of issues here. So the first one, Michelle actually brought us up. This is there's a bulletin from Travis CI. Basically, it was saying that if somebody just forked a public repo for another one, and then they could actually obtain unauthorized access to secrets from the original public repo. So this looks pretty bad, but I think we're not really using Travis anymore, but it's still good, for any secrets that we're using. We should rotate them for anything that we're using that is CI related. And also the doc publishing so Patrick's not here. Actually, you check with Patrick, right? Because I don't know if this one will be affected. And then the next one, who added this? Warning leak when PC is deleted.
Hey, this is Fabio. This was me. I added this. So yeah, there is this long-standing issue with external provisioner when the CSI driver is provisioning a volume, and then if the external provisioner is stopped and the PVC is deleted, when the external provisioner is back up again, it doesn't know anything about the CSI driver working on provisioning the volume. So the volume is basically leaked. So one of the ways to approach this problem would be to add a finalizer to the PVC, so that the PVC can't be deleted until the volume is in fact provisioned. So I just wanted to check if you folks have any other ideas about this, if this approach would be acceptable. There is the problem that for every PVC, the external provisioner will have to hit the API server. Like there is going to be 2 extra requests to the API server, one to add the finalizer and the other one to remove it. So this could be a problem. Perhaps I thought maybe we can hide this behavior like behind a CLI, I don't know, a feature gate or something like that, CLI option, I don't know. So yeah, I just wanted to check if you folks have any other ideas. Or
so
there is another way similar to snapshot. I think for snapshot we solve this issue by creating snapshot content. Basically here is equivalent to PV first before even trying to create the actual disk. So then there are always a PV exist, right? First, and then depends on the actual disk will actually provisioned or not. The PV object already exists, and if what is that? If you try to delete PVC, yeah, there's still some difference between snapshot.
I think there's but I think the only thing is I think PV it's the code has been there for a long time, right? So I just don't know if we can change this completely.
The assumption in Kubernetes is that if a PV is provisioned, that the PV object exists, that it is complete. So, for example, we don't allow to change the spec of PV too much after creation. It needs to provide like the full CSI volume data. And the second thing is, which I forgot. Never mind, I just forgot it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Inevitably, we will have some external provisioners that have the old behavior, and we will have some provisioners with the new behavior in the same cluster because they come from different vendors and they publish the CSI, they update the provisioners at different speed. And so, like for the control manager, for the PV controller, it would be hard to bind the PVs and not to start pods because it doesn't know if the PV that was created but not fully, not complete yet, if it can start pods for it or not. Like we would need to change everything in the, I don't know, attach controller, kubelet, everything to make sure to wait until the PV is kind of complete. And I don't know how to do that. Like it would be a lot of work everywhere.
Sorry, can you say that again? How to?
So yeah, everything in Kubernetes, like attach controller, kubelet, I don't know, external resizer, for example, they expect that when the PV is created, that it is complete. So, for example, scheduler will start scheduling pods with incomplete PVs. Kubelet will try to start those pods with incomplete PVs, and like all those components would need to be updated to wait until, I don't know what signal actually should be that the PV is complete and the data in PV points to a real volume, and like scheduler can start scheduling, attacher can start attaching, and so on.
Right. Okay, yeah. So then how about the finalizer approach? Then it.
Yeah, I don't like, you know me, I don't like finalizers, but I don't know better way. If you want to prevent leaks, then I think a finalizer is the right approach, or lien when it's implemented. I don't really care, but yeah, that seems to be the only way. I see one issue, like if a volume is never provisioned, like the create volume call always times out, then users can't delete that volume easily. They need to, well, yeah, like if they try to remove the finalizer, yeah, they can remove the finalizer manually. That's the only way.
I mean, basically, we still don't have a way to delete the volume because we don't have a handle. We don't have PD to do that.
Yeah, good point. And users by removing the finalizer, kind of the user like is responsible for the result. Like they could be volume leaked, but these are users. Like PVCs are users object, and we know users like don't really care about leaking volumes. And yeah, the cluster admin may need to clean it up after themselves, after the users.
But even you like not user delete finalizer, right? We also need to implement the logic to delete the finalizer. But when we should delete the finalizer after volume is successfully created.
Yeah, like that's the easier problem, I believe. Like that's code that we can write.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a proof of concept for this down below this issue.
This one? Oops, this one?
Yeah. So the finalizer is added before create volume is called, and it is removed after the volume is created. And yeah, there is a similar code for this, for the cloning feature. In this proof of concept, I just used, like, the removing the finalizer is a little bit trickier. Yeah, there is a, for the cloning feature, that's done using a controller. So I'm reusing that controller to remove the finalizer from the PVC as well, in this, at least in this proof of concept.
Can you repeat that? So when will you be removing the finalizer?
When after the volume is created, after the PVC, the PV exists, yeah.
So this is the sync claim. During sync claim, you add the logic to remove provisioner finalizer.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if you scroll down, the condition to check when you can remove it is sorry, is this here?
Oh yeah, this controller is like the cloning protection protection controller. I'm just reusing this controller for this. I could either create a new controller or reuse this one. I think we should just rename this controller and make it more generic so that we can reuse it. So I think I have to check again, but I think I'm removing the PVC finalizer when the PV is detected. When I know the PV exists, then I remove the finalizer from the PVC.
Okay.
Yeah, I got the PV. If the PV is found.
When this logic might be triggered, when because sync claim, right? When the claim object get updated with it, or it will periodically, like how?
I don't remember when this. I think when the PVC is updated, it will sync, but I can.
Yeah, when the object get updated, it definitely should sync. So I mean, after PV is created, there should be a update PVC event. Should it?
Yeah.
Then that should trigger. Yeah, just want to check, just in case, in what cases it might not get triggered to remove the finalizer. If that, yeah, could happen.
Yeah, possibly. I still have to review this and see if it's removing the finalizer in all possible whenever it needs to be removed. So I still have to review this. It's just a proof of concept, really. I didn't test this extensively. Didn't update the tests and anything.
Sure, yeah. There is, it's just in corner cases, many things could happen, like a controller restart, and it lost some kind of state.
So if you think the finalizer approach is the way to go, I can create a proper PR and try to address all the corner cases.
I think this need to have a feature gate. So we're actually also for this other like for this one, the owner volume deletion. This one also we are adding a finalizer actually, and that will be controlled. Oh, sorry, what is? Oh, okay, yeah, and that will be under a feature gate in the provisioner. So I think Yang actually, yeah, you review that one, right? So
Yeah, like
one should also have a feature gate.
we may need a feature gate. We may even need a feature in Kubernetes. It depends. Like this is not anything that we need to hurry up with. So we can just, if the approach is okay, we can then discuss what is the right approach. If this should be a feature gate or just a command line parameter, so different vendors could have different protection. Or it should be a feature gate when all vendors will eventually have the same behavior without any option. And like if we need a cap for this or not. I think these are just up for discussion right now.
Okay.
I'm just curious in general, we have a feature gate associated with a finalizer. When the feature gate, let's say the feature gate gets turned on, the finalizer is written or is added, and then we flip the feature gate off. I don't know how common of that case is. Is that something we consider? Like, what do we do with the remaining finalizer typically?
What we usually do, we document how to turn off the feature correctly. So that means like the admin needs to remove the finalizer manually. Or I remember in one case, I'm not sure. At least we were considering that, like, if the feature is off, then we have a controller that removes the finalizer. But I don't know, like it's
we actually implemented
could
that.
break. That's a thing that could break when you disable the feature and you don't want the feature enabled, but you still have some code for it. That could be wrong. This is dangerous.
So like this kind of issue, right, is more or less like a bug, but because I guess because it is touching the very critical logic, so we want to have a feature as a feature. Or
so there is a feature gate in this external provisioner. That was the feature gate I was talking about. I don't know if do we need this. I think Yang was also saying, do you also want to have this controlled by feature gate in tree? But we don't really have any code that will be controlled by this, do we? At least for now, looks like it's all external, right?
Yeah, I think everything is in the external provisioner. We don't need anything in tree.
Okay. Basically, you're just saying that maybe we need a cap just to go through the scenarios and like especially for the like upgrade downgrade cases, PR requirement basically those type of thing maybe have something we need to think at least when you think through about those.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's a little different. Like this other feature gate we're talking about actually we think there's still some entry code. I mean, at least when we're looking at it, right? So that still need the entry feature gate, both entry and external. Like this one maybe only in the external provisioner that we need that.
Oh, this only solved the CSI case, not the entry. Entry also
right, because the issue is he was talking about the external provisioner is down, right? So I think it was opened. Let me see. I think it was opened for that. Is that
we have the same issue in tree. If you restart if you restart control manager at the wrong time, we have exactly the same issue. But like we are moving everything to CSI, so I don't think will there be anything in tree that provisions volumes. By the time we graduate these features, like there may be nothing in tree that provisions volumes.
Because this is only for PVCs, it's not really for this other like FMR ones, right? Those are not really using that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the local? What about the local PV? Would that still be?
They don't have dynamic provisioning. They have
okay.
take a symlink on a disk and create PV for it.
Okay. All right.
They don't check PVCs.
Okay. All right. So that'll be simpler, at least if we are only looking at CSI volumes.
Yeah, there's also this distributed provisioning mode for local volumes. I don't know if that will change anything here. I think each provisioner instance will just have to look at its own subset and do the right thing. Subset of PVCs.
Yeah.
Should that be the same? Behavior should be the same, right? Does that change? Does that need any special?
The overall behavior of the provisioner will be the same. Just the load on the API server may be higher because like suddenly multiple provisioners will try to create the finalizer at the same time.
But if it's, it should be creating just one for the one that it is taken care of, right? Why?
Right.
It's multiple.
Like with the distributed provisioning, I think multiple external provisioners could try provisioning at the same time.
But not the same volume, right? I mean,
well, not the same volume, but the same claim. I don't know.
You're saying that maybe load may be higher, basically, because
yeah,
like maybe you can, you know, create 10 at the same time. In the past, maybe you can create one or something.
Exactly. Well, this would be better discussed with Patrick.
Okay.
Yeah, if I recall correctly.
Different. Yeah.
If I recall correctly, I think Patrick did put in some logic to kind of either add some random delay between within the different replicas or some way to kind of like mitigate that issue. Some parameters.
Yeah. I know about the random delay, but it's still at the same time multiple provisioners can provision, even if there is a random delay, but the chance is low.
Although I guess with the finalizer implementation, I think the finalizer only gets applied by the provisioner that is actually handling the PVC, I would imagine. Right.
Sure.
So yeah, I guess the issue won't be worse if it exists.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that this is a useful thing to have. And is that the general sentiment, like going through features and feature gate, and eventually all external provisioners of all vendors will have this logic baked in, and there will be no opt-out? Because if we go through command line option, then each vendor can have different setting, and we don't need a feature gate, and we don't even need cap. So
this seems that this should be generic, right? Why this is the driver specific?
I'm just asking, like, if you have some
I just think this should be common logic. Seems like how to handle the volume leak, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
I don't know, some crazy vendor could have some.
This looks like it's a bug, right? So we should fix it for all and not just for some. It's a little weird.
Okay.
Opt out. We can talk later. I mean, I don't think we can. We have to, decide that yet, because I think you are still doing some more POC, some more investigation, right? But it seems to me this is not really like a driver specific thing that you want to opt out. Seems like a generic thing.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have more comments about this? Okay.
So what's the action we want to take?
I think Fabio is doing some more testing with this one. Just look at all the scenarios. I think the tricky things,
okay, sure.
Yeah, I can start working on a cap or something like that as well.
Okay.
I'll keep you posted.
All right. Let's see. I think that's probably just, mainly for those weird scenarios where if you want to enable it and disable it, so really want to describe like what will happen basically, at least document those behavior.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next one is so I think Ben brought this up, basically just to check for the new features that we added to CSS Spec 1.4 and 1.5. Have we added CSS any test? Probably need to actually go through those features and check with the feature owners. I believe we have been adding those. Who worked on the? I think it's Chris who worked on the rewrite one's pod. I thought that one we added, right? Chris is not here. Okay. So I think this is basically just to see, if you have worked on a feature that you added something in CSI 1.4, 1.5, make sure that you are also adding the CSS any test. We can actually, maybe next time we can list all the new features and then go check. But at least I know for Warning House, at least I know that we added CSS test. I believe Patrick also added those for the capacity tracking type of thing. I think he added test. I'm not sure what is missing, but we can list out all the features and check with the feature owners. Jing, do you have anything else you want to talk about? I know you added this one. This one, I think we need to also add those features there, but you added some issues. You want to go over this as well?
Not this time. Like basically, I have created two columns. One is focusing on the features. One is focusing on issues. So it's easier to basically to check. And I add all the features from that spreadsheet, like I think the 123 like planning spreadsheet.
Okay.
So yeah, I think in the following meetings we can iterate either some of the features when the owner is working on that, or iterate the issues.
Okay.
There are quite a number of for each.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, if you just look at the list, we actually have a lot of caps. Yeah. Quite a few. Actually, most actually got merged, which is good. Okay.
Right. By the way, I have just a quick question for create volume, right? So when provisioner try to create volumes, how we guarantee the added potency? Like if the first time create volume failed and second time it's not going to create a new one instead of.
I think that's driver's responsibility. I don't think we in a provision, I don't think we can guarantee that, right?
We pass unique ID in the create volume, and if the driver sees to create volume calls with the same ID, they should be treated as idempotent.
The unique ID is generated by the provisioner before trying to create the disk.
Yes. I think it's a PVCU ID or something like that.
That's part of the CSS spec, right? You're talking about the create volume request, that thing, you passing a name and then driver is supposed to return.
Sure. So yeah, I was just thinking, in case this scenario happened and the user need to manually, let's say, remove finalizer, but how user can be able to identify whether the underlying disk, there is some underlying disk there.
The driver they have to maintain some state internally to figure that out, I think. Otherwise,
Yeah, it is driver specific. When available, we use tags, for example, in labels and this kind of stuff. But how user can determine? Well,
Oh, you mean
user
the
can determine
regular user? Regular user.
They can see PVs. That's the only thing. They can
Right,
see
but actually, they only see the name. The PV actually can be a different, can be a different one even. If you just look at the name.
They see the PVC is bound to something. That's how the regular user sees that it is either in progress or done.
So there is so when the PV is created, there is a volume ID associated with it.
No, but I mean the PV is not created yet, so somehow it's like saying it failed, kind of or timeout, right? But just
So the CSI driver will take care of that because it will again like the Kubernetes will give the same create volume call with the same ID, right? The PV name, and then that PV name will be internally mapped to that particular call. I think so. It should be handled by CSI driver.
Yeah, like we actually have to add some special logic to make sure that it's actually not. I mean, it has to depend on the driver. It's actually not that easy for us to make sure it is idempotent.
okay.
Okay. Jean, does that answer your question, or you have more concerns about this?
Yeah, it should be very, very, very rare. I was just thinking.
It's actually not rare.
No, the case.
If it takes long, if it takes a long time, I mean, if for some reason it takes a while for the PV to, or if you have a lot of requests, right? What takes some time, and then actually can happen. I know the drivers have the same issue. They actually you have to do something. I know, like I remember there was some box opened by Ceph, but that's for snapshots. I don't know if they have the same thing for the volume. So, but you could have this whole thing because the backend doesn't know. They could keep creating. So unless you do something, like for us, we have to do something in the driver to maintain some kind of state. So we know that, okay, this is the existing one. It's not supposed to create another one. So it's actually, it's not that easy, I think.
I see. And the thing I was thinking is that possible? Like you mentioned, right? We have a unique identifier when you create the disk, and so that to use for idempotency.
Right. So because we actually have some part of it is actually the UUID. Actually, that can be, so driver can, save that, you maintain some mapping, so it knows. Right?
I'm wondering whether we can save that information in the PVC too. So for user,
so what information is saved in PVC? Which information?
The identifier you can.
Oh, use. You're saying the one that we're sending in the. I think we are using the PV name. Actually, it's like a part of the. Actually, I need to check again. I think it's like the UUID name of the PV, maybe something like that. I need to check. I think it's I think for both snapshot and for the volume, I think we have something like that. And there's a prefix, and then in the middle is some UUID it's either PV or snap for the snapshot content. Sure. That got sent to the driver, I think. So that's actually unique already from but you're saying we're not saving that. Well, it's kind of saved. It's from the PV name, from the PV UUID, right? So it's kind of saved, but I think that can can be changed also. That one thing is because a lot of things are configurable. Like you can trim because some driver have limitation on the length. So we actually have something for you to, if you can't take that something that long, you can actually trim the length, and then you can also change the prefix or something. But if you don't change it, then I think you should be able to trace it.
Oh, the case I'm thinking is PV is not created.
Oh, PV is not created. PV, okay. PV is not created, then you're saying we save something in PVC? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh.
So why can't we create PV directly if we have all the information?
Oh, I think she was talking about this case, right? So the leak case. we're saying we don't have PV. How can we see?
If I have ID of the volume, why would I save it to PVC instead of PV?
Yeah, I was just thinking because somehow the request already issued, but it's never like a timeout or
but
some case.
Then you don't have the ID of the volume.
Right.
So yeah, I maybe we should still
So
think about is it possible
sorry. So when we say the PV is not created, that means the create volume call, the driver is not reached, right?
This meaning it's not finished yet. It's already started, like what this bug was saying. We already started create volume, but because this is not successful yet, so we don't, because we create PV after create volume return successfully, right? So we don't have the PV. So is that, I know we talked about this earlier. Is that possible to rethink this? Can we actually have a PV first? But I think Yang, you're saying it's not possible. We create that first, but we don't bind it. Then why?
It is possible, but you need to rewrite half of Kubernetes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the problem. I think, Xing. I think because we don't have that problem with snapshot. That's brand new, and those are completely out of tree. This one has involves in-tree code that has been there for a long time, and in-tree code because started with static provisioning, right? So, I think it's different. So I think it's difficult, yeah, to completely change that. Maybe we can come back to this after the migration is completely gone. We removed all the in-tree plugins. At that time, maybe we don't. Do you think at that time we can reevaluate? Yeah.
No. There will be still in-tree volumes.
Oh, you're saying like even like the ephemeral volumes that could affect.
Well, no, they don't have PVs.
Right, but then if we move everything out.
And like we are like all the code in kubelet and I don't know, attach controller, PV controller, it's not related to CSI. It's like generic PV.
So it's so those are like the okay, but if we move everything out, so okay, I guess this part I'm not that familiar. So what is the, so you're saying basically like the PVC type, we're supporting that for in-tree, but if we moved out everything,
we still have PV controller and we still have attached controller, we still have kubelet in-tree.
Okay, so they are all kind of have this assumptions already. It's kind of hard to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And scheduler, and I don't know what else. Like.
Okay. Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Xing, do you have other thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's okay. So like Yang mentioned, like maybe tagging, labeling, as another way for user to in case they somehow they need to find out the disk, which disk.
Yeah, that's what we do in tree, and I believe like all the CSI drivers that can do that, they are labeling their volumes with I don't know PVC name and
add labels directly. Will add to what? Add PVC?
No, labels to like the volume in the cloud, like tags in Amazon, labels in GCE. Cinderson has some metadata thingy.
But that's we're talking about that. I'm thinking about in the future, everything's out, right? Moved out. Then what? What you need to do that?
Nothing changes. This is like
okay.
We still have in-tree stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Okay then. Okay. Anything else, Xing? Maybe we can come back to this one. Maybe we can. I know you know Fabio is also doing some POC. We can maybe come back to this.
When Fabio like working on the cap, we can continue to discuss. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's all we have today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.